Gratitude. Guys, cultivate an attitude of gratitude. Welcome to the United Hotspot. My name is Webb, and it's a Sunday. And as you would expect, a Christian like me, ordinarily, I should have gone to church. And you know, when someone starts with statements like that, surely it's probably because they have enjoyed the sermon. Well, I'm going to tell you about my Sunday today and be honest about it. I hope you can afford to be as well. I mean, if you expected this show to be so serious, then you're wrong because it's a Sunday. I'm going to tell you the truth, but listen, fam, how many times have we really been so negative about Manchester United? And I'm the first culprit, to be honest. I don't know how many times I've been here, all negative about everything going on around the club I claim to support. And I'm thinking, is that how you behave when you're talking about something you claim to love? Because listen, the things I love, and I've been reflecting on myself and thinking about myself, and I said, okay, I love God, I love myself, I love my kids, of course, and my family. Of course, you should be saying, this guy is selfish. How do you put yourself above your kids? Well, because I'm honest, many of you pretend to love your kids more than you love yourself. I don't think so. I think, but anyway, for the benefit of you feeling good, well, I'll put my kids first. I love my kids, then I love myself. I love football. I love money, obviously. I love Man United. Now let's focus on Man United. Now, listen, I've for the longest time been attacking this club as if everything we do is wrong, especially the manager, Erik Ten Hag. I've given him some credit when he has done right. I'm not really the biased kind, but I feel like I've been more negative than positive, and someone called me out in the comment section, and I loved that, by the way, because it woke me up a bit and add to the sermon I enjoyed today about cultivating an attitude of gratitude. And I'm thinking, can't we just be thankful to Erik Ten Hag for a minute, or to these boys, to this club for a minute? Is everything wrong? Listen, Erik Ten Hag has won 2 trophies in 2 seasons, a trophy every season, and the second trophy is an improvement on the first. First season, won the Carabao Cup, lost the FA Cup final against Man City. The next season, he wins the FA Cup, beating Man City. Meanwhile, we had so many injuries. The first season, we finished third on the pile. We played decently well. We played good football. We are competitive. We believed once again that we are on the way back. But clearly, the setbacks were there. I'm not saying that Erik Ten Hag is the perfect manager for Man United. He's a good manager. No, listen. The fact that you're appreciative to your parent for paying your dues, for paying your school fees, for feeding you, does not mean you will not want to call them out if they refuse to give you money for a trip. Yeah, that's it. But doesn't take away the fact that you should be appreciative towards them for the right things or the good things they're doing. And for me, this time for me, I'm here to focus on the right things. I listened critically to Benni McCarthy's interview about Erik Ten Hag. And honestly, the things he said, and I believed Benni McCarthy, I loved him as a player, especially at Blackburn Rovers. I enjoyed him in the Premier League. He was quite a baller, such a top baller. He almost made me support the Bafana. He was different. But look, listen, this guy was saying he was there. He was part of the early morning meetings. He was part of everything Erik Ten Hag did at Man United, because the moment Erik Ten Hag was hired at Man United, constituting his backroom staff, he gave him a call. Listen, this guy is saying he hasn't seen a manager work so hard like Erik Ten Hag. He hasn't seen a manager pay attention to detail like Erik Ten Hag. Never mind him, the same person questioning his passion, because I think it was sort of it was an issue of language. You can clearly tell that Benni McCarthy's first language is not exactly English. He sort of struggles with it a bit, like all of us, I think. It's not our first language, really. I mean, we just studied it in school and learned it. But listen, this guy is saying This man wakes up at as early as 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and he's texting his team, texting especially the analysts. In fact, he said probably the wife of the video analyst or performance analyst will even divorce because the husband is always on the phone responding to messages from his boss, Erik Ten Hag. The man spends sleepless nights trying to get things working, organizes the team properly, so meticulously, pays attention to every details, and he said the things the players do in training, the quality the players have, the attitude he sees, they can't get it when it gets to match day. It's like it's a shock. These players are just in utter shock, utmost shock. The players they manage are a shadow of themselves when it's match day. And that's no one can point to exactly what happens. They get a mental shock. What happens? They can't run. And have you ever prepared so well for something and when it comes you're not even proud of how you perform? I actually think it happened a lot with me all throughout my education. I think even now, if I have an important meeting, I don't over prepare. When I over prepare, I molest it. I just murder it. I mess it up. I don't know. I think there are people like that. I don't know why. And it may not even be nerves, but I think probably because I have a lot of ideas. I don't know. But I don't want to over prepare for things that are important. I just want to, okay, know what I want to do, put it together in my head. Then if I need to structure it in maybe a presentation or whatever, just do my bullets and try to neaten them and chill. But if I prepare so hard, when it gets to the final presentation, I somehow I don't get it. And it's you can't explain why. It's a very difficult problem to solve because ideally, the better you prepare, or the more time you spend in preparation, the better the execution should be. That should be the natural way things happen. That should be the logical way. But certain times it's not the case. Even in school, I remember whenever I read so hard for an exam, I would struggle in that exam. Whenever I read so much, like we have exams in 3 months, and I start reading 3 months earlier, when they come, I don't know. But if I read, let's say, math towards the paper or weeks to the paper, yeah, I'm more focused and contained, and I'm not all over the place. I don't know. I can't explain it up to today. It defeats it defeats logic. It happens. But that doesn't take away the fact that you put in the hard yards. Now, I know the rule of or the nature of humans is that the end, and I think it's the unwritten rule of life, if it's not even written somewhere, the end always justifies the means. But that doesn't mean you are not going to reward or credit the process because anything can spoil a process, especially if it's a team sport. So Benny McCarthy was saying, we cannot just keep talking about sacking the manager because sacking Erik Ten Hag is going to solve what? What is the problem you've identified that sacking him is going to solve? Now, we know the passion thing, we've spoken about him not being animated, but maybe I think even if I were a manager and I see players giving me 100% in training, I see these players training perfectly well, having the right attitude, proper preparations and all, and they get to match days and they shut down, I will be confused. I would be confused. Who wouldn't? Maybe Erik Ten Hag's lack of animation is because he's in utter shock seeing the players he was training the day before failing to respond on match day. And Benny, because Erik Ten Hag was quite passionate at Ajax. If you recall, if you watched Ajax games in the Champions League when they were almost pushing, was it Real Madrid to the limit? He was quite animated. You would see the passion in him. Now, so what then do we do? We've got to give that. I mean, am I saying we should never call him out? I will still tomorrow come here after we struggle against Brentford. I will still be the first to call him out for what he has done wrong selection, because I still think he struggles to organize his team. I still think his substitutions at times are wrong. I still think he overthinks football. Maybe it's part of why it's part of the problem. Maybe he gives the players too much, and maybe that's why they get to match day and they are under pressure to execute the so much he was giving them. Because Sir Alex Ferguson, at times I keep telling people, at times that the secret is in the simplicity. At times you want to keep it simple. I've said it before that Erik Ten Hag seems to complicate football, but at times the secret is in simplicity. Sir Alex Ferguson would never call players, and videos were still there. He could have done it if he wanted. By Sir Alex Ferguson, and some of you can call him old school and want me to shut up because of that. But listen, Phil Jones and all these guys will tell you they were never analyzing videos. Sir Alex Ferguson he'd never coached Rio Ferdinand about defending. He just spoke to his mind, and it's all about that. You told, we know we brought you to this club because we know what you're capable of. He just needed to psych them up, get their mentality right, and get them fighting and playing for his life. Maybe before we sack Erik Ten Hag, can we trust that he's good? Because Ineos tried to sack him, interviewed everyone, and they didn't find a better candidate for the job. He has proven that he can win titles. Can we perhaps try to change the way we do things and maybe go back to the basics? Try not to complicate football so much, because these kids of today, smart as they are, give them too much, you're confusing them. Maybe these boys just need to be motivated. Now, can we focus on finding ways of motivating them than trying to be so tactical and analytical? Maybe that's where the confusion comes in. Maybe play these kids, and given the size of the club, because Benny was saying, and we know it, we've seen it with Andrew Nana, he's in Uganda now, but people are still all over the place trying to get a glimpse. Even the speaker of the deputy speaker of the parliament of Uganda had to move with his son to go and get an autograph with Andrew Nana at his hotel, at Serena Hotel. So these guys are huge that you can't move freely. So the pressure of playing for Man United that perhaps is overwhelming for them. That's why they get on the pitch and they shut down. So maybe we need to focus on finding ways to get them comfortable, to get used to that, to the pressure, to get used to the stage and the occasion. Maybe that's what we need to figure out and try to assist Erik Ten Hag in doing that, and we see whether it works. Because honestly, with all his weaknesses, with all the things he's got to sort, United is not okay. It's looking ugly. It's got to get better. But firing a manager who is as meticulous as one of his past team members said, Benny, is not entirely a solution. Also, given the fact that we see these players, we know the potential of these players. They are not as bad as the results they have really been giving us. So, yeah, I want to give to express my gratitude towards Erik Ten Hag for winning 2 titles. I mean, he deserves his credit. Some people will complain about it because, I mean, he keeps saying, yeah, this is a process. I've won titles. That's what I do. It's the truth. The guy has won 2 titles. The first manager to win the title since Jose Mourinho. So you won't take that away from him. And the second title is an improvement on the previous. So, but also he won titles through difficult circumstances. Transition of the club, so many injuries, poor quality players. Some of them have gone on to retire from football. These are players who are earning crazy amounts of money, but covering nasty injuries. So he deserves some bit of credit. That's the positivity we need around the club. So even when we are questioning him, I think we need to be more positive. As fans of the club, we need that positivity, and if we fire that positivity onto the players, we will get to help them to get the confidence in front of us, because they are probably timid because they know how ruthless United supporters can be. But maybe if we show them that backing and they feel it, maybe they will perform. Because again, I will insist, Man United players are not as bad as Anthony is not as bad as he has been looking. Marcus Rashford is not as bad as he looks sometimes. I don't think we've seen even a quarter of how good Kobe is or Garnacho. These players are not as bad as they appear. We can still salvage the situation, but it starts with the mindset. If we are positive as supporters, if everyone around the club is positive, give it time, it will click, of course. But we also expect the manager to adjust and improve in the areas he has failed to improve. If it stays like that for so long, you can't do the same things every day and expect different results. That's what they call being illiterate in the 21st century, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. It's not, it's not, I don't think it's the time for us to pull the trigger yet. We can try to adjust a few things, and it's a collective. With the supporters, adjust our attitude and mindset. Ineos, adjust, solve the problem. The problem, Benny said, these players get a mental shock. How do you solve it? Let's now rally all of us to back them so that they feel confident and perform to their best. My name is Webb. This is the United Sport. Like, share, and subscribe. I'll catch you later.